guys, backyard from a Pat here. Guys, today is another very exciting day. I'm over by one of my red coat trees, or my red coat hog plum trees, and I noticed last week that my tree is actually waking up. It's beginning to blossom. So just last week I had cut this tree back drastically. It was just a tangled web of branches, and and I didn't realize until I had cut several branches, and actually gave one of my friend Diane, gave her one of the major branches. I didn't realize until we cut it back that every branch had blossoms on it. So today, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some more cutting, but actually I'm not gonna cut. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna do an air layer. So I want to show you guys how I air layer. So as you can see, I really opened up the tree a lot. One thing you should look at when you're growing is your tree's growing. You want to make sure that you don't have branches crossing like these two branches are crossing. So really, ideally, I should have cut that branch, but I wasn't willing to sacrifice that branch because you can see it's a major branch and it's also covered in blossoms. So this one will probably end up having multiple cuttings from it. But guys, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to air layer this. So this is going to be a new tree. So I'm going to show you how I'm doing my air layer. I'm going to kind of air layer it midway up because first of all, I don't want to have to like bend down and try and get in between there. But when I do remove the air layer, what I'll do at that point is cut it all the way back and then use the bottom part as cuttings. So we're going to be getting cuttings and a new tree out of this, and hopefully the cuttings will also grow into new trees. But we'll see. We'll be able to compare and see the difference, guys. I like to experiment. Instead of me just chopping this and dumping it in the compost pile or in the garbage, we don't want to do that, guys. Let's see how many trees we can get out of this. So as I mentioned, this is the branch. It's well over 6 feet tall now, and you can see that's the beginning of some red coat plums that are coming. I have this red coat plum. This one here is more of the fleshy red coat plum. There are different kinds of red coat plum. You have the red coat plum or that are more in line with the hog plums that are like when you bite it, it squirts a lot of juice. Very juicy, very sweet. This one is more of the fleshy red coat plum. So I bought this one place, and then this other one is a red coat plum, but it's more this is more like the traditional hog plum that is when you bite it, it squirts all over. Love it. Love both of them. And let me explain what an air layer is. I'm going to be showing you, but I'm just going to explain the importance of an air layer. You want to do air layers in order to propagate a tree. It's just a method of propagating a tree where you take off some of the bark, you remove the cambium layer, and then allow it to spring new roots. So that's basically what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be removing a ring of bark. We're going to be making sure all the cambium layer is completely removed from the bark, and then we're going to wrap it to simulate it being underground. That way we're going to generate some roots. So let's go ahead. I'm setting the camera up, and I'll walk you through what I'm doing. Before we start, let me show you really quick what I'm going to be using today. I got this at the Dollar Tree. It's Omni certified, so it's organic. It's 100% coconut core with no fillers. It's like a compacted coconut core that I'm going to add to water, and when it swells up, I'm going to use that as a soil medium. I have a little piece of aloe that I'm going to be using as my rooting hormone, or you can use rooting hormone that you can buy in the store. It doesn't matter what the brand is. This is the rooting hormone that I've had for years that I sometimes use, but usually I just use aloe. You need a plastic bag or some kind of plastic or some kind of thing to wrap the soil medium in. And I have some foil that I may or may not use. Then you need a way to secure the plastic bag onto the tree. You can use tape, you can use rope. I can't find my rope, so I'm just going to use tape today. I'm going to go ahead and drop this in there in the water so it can start swelling up while I start my air layer. All this water is going to be just soaked up. Look at that. This one is pretty good, guys. It just soaks up the water right away. So let me just add some water to this, and then so this can soak up until it becomes like this. Gonna add some more water and then start the air layer now. All right, so gonna start at a comfortable angle and comfortable length. So I think that's like maybe 3-4 feet and maybe 3 feet from the ground. So I'm gonna start right here. Set the camera up and make sure you guys can see. So you want to get I'm gonna pick 2 leaf nodes to cut in between. See a leaf node here and a leaf node here. So I'm gonna cut in between here, remove the cambium layer. Then we're gonna try and see if we can generate some roots from this one. All right, so let's get started. So the very first thing, have a very sharp knife, very sharp blade. Don't cut yourself now. And then we're gonna start, let's see. I think we're gonna start right here. Right by here, where that leaf is. I'm gonna make a circle here, right under this leaf node. I'm gonna literally cut the bark going all the way around. Want to make sure you're going all the way around. Clean cut all the way around. Don't cut too deep. Just cut till you feel yourself going through the bark. All right. I'm gonna come down here and do the same cut. You can make the cut like an inch and a half long. The space in between the 2 cuts, maybe an inch and a half long. I'm going all the way around, make it a complete circle. Complete circle. Then, after you make sure you've gone through the bark, you've done your complete circle, make sure, guys, all the way around. I'm cutting all the way around. I'm just doing it again just to make sure I got all the way through. This bark isn't very hard, isn't very tough, so it's not bad. But I'm just making sure. All right, now we're gonna split in the middle, split all the way down. Again, making sure you're hitting that, you're getting through the bark. And then what you're gonna do is peel it off. Peel it off like you're peeling off a shirt. Should be able to just peel that layer off. Some are a little easier than others, guys, but you can see that green layer. Peeling it off. You want to remove the cambium layer altogether. It's not peeling very well for me, but I'm just taking my fingernail and pulling it off. Some trees literally just peel off like you're peeling off a shirt. Oops. So one of the mistakes that I made as a newbie when I first did this on my June plum tree, guys, I was so excited. I saw the leaves after a couple months, the leaves were sprouting, it even started blossoming. I was so excited, guys, but I left some of this cambium layer on. And if you don't remove all this green, if you don't remove it all the way down, guys, if there's even a little bit coming back on up, it's gonna cause the tree to resprout. So we got the front on. I scrape it just to make sure all the cambium layer is off, and then I'm gonna go on the other side and do the back side. And that's why, I'm doing it further up so I can easily get to all of it. Yep. I'm going in the back, peeling it off. And let me show you what it looks like in the back. See, that's what the back looks like. You see, it has all this green on it still. Has all this cambium layer. You want to scrape. Make sure that there's no highway for the nutrients to get from the root to the leaves. You want to disrupt that layer. Wash, scrape, 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 scrape. And after I scrape like this, guys, I go back and wash it off with water. I'm spending a few extra minutes here because it's really critical to get off all the cambium layer. If you don't get the cambium layer off completely, the tree will just basically heal itself and it won't form any roots. So it's really important to do what I'm doing. Air layers are really an excellent way of getting a whole new fruit tree that's ready to fruit, especially when you do the air layer from a tree that's already fruiting. So guys, this is what it looks like all the way around. You can see I literally scraped it clean. No cambium layer. Let's focus in. Make sure it's clean like that. You can see the green of the cambium layer is completely interrupted. All right? And it's clean and white like this all the way through. That's just wood. All right, so I'm gonna rinse this off and then I'll show you the next step. This is just some plain, it's actually some rainwater that I had just sitting around. So it doesn't matter if it's rainwater. Just take some plain water and just wash it off. And just make sure you don't see any trace of green. You can see how clean the stem is. No trace of green anywhere. No trace of green connecting the root to the rest of the branch. You want to interrupt that highway. Just picture the cambium layer as a highway that takes nutrients up, and we have completely interrupted the highway. So now let's go ahead and I'm going to add some rooting agent, because what you want to do now is where you have these leaf nodes, you want these leaf nodes to become roots. So I'm going to rub the rooting agent along here. I'm even going to rub some, here's another leaf node right here, a little bit above it. I'm going to rub some rooting agent all up here, because this is where you want the roots to form. So let's do that now. So I have two things. I have Take Root, which is the rooting hormone that you can buy in the store. I think it's only a few dollars. I've had it for many, many years. I have no idea how much it costs. And here I have a piece of aloe. Aloe vera is actually an excellent rooting hormone. I use this probably more than anything. I don't use this too often anymore, but both work very, very well. Not everybody has aloe, so don't go out and buy aloe. What you want to do is, what I'm going to do first, I'm just going to lightly bruise this up, the bark. You don't have to, but this is how I do it. I just lightly injure the bark, very, very lightly. And then I'm going to take the rooting hormone. Here I'm using the aloe, and I'm going to rub the aloe all up and down here. Remember, the tree, you're going to cut this, and then the part above it is going to become the tree. So you want to make sure you have the roots above where you do the cut. So I'm rubbing the rooting hormone all the way up the bark. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of this, just so you can see. You can use either one. You can just rub a little of this on there. And now I'm going to take my I'm gonna show you how I do my growth medium. So let's check on our coconut core. And wow, guys, just in that short period of time, look how this thing is massive. This thing has like quadrupled in size. It has sucked up all the water. Oh geez. All right, so what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna use this Ziploc bag. I'm gonna put the coconut core in the Ziploc bag. You don't want the coconut core to be dripping water. You want it to be moist enough to maybe have one little drip, but you want it to just be moist, not soaking wet. So let's take a handful of this. Oh, look like I needed a bigger container. So if you guys buy this stuff, just use a much bigger container. So you pick it up, you squeeze, You see a few drops, that's kind of too wet. You want to squeeze it, squeeze out all that excess water. All right, until you just barely see like one drop. So that's good. So you're just gonna keep doing this, squeezing out all the excess. All that is too much. Squeeze that out, and I'll just keep doing this until the bag is full, and then I'll come back to you and show you how we attach to the tree. Okay, so I got it all in the bag, and you can see this is what it looks like. I'm squeezing it, and there's just barely any moisture. You don't want it dripping. It just barely has moisture. So when you squeeze it really tight, you might get 1 or 2 drops, but that's fine. Okay, because what you don't want to happen is you don't want it to get moldy, but you want to have some kind of moisture so it can generate roots. All right, so I'm gonna close this up. I put the date on here, January 23rd, 2024. I put that it's the earlier of a red coat. And closing up the bag. I'm squeezing out the air. Squeezing out all the air. Closing up the Ziploc. And I'm just kind of taping it. And this is what we're going to use now, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm going to cut the bag. You want to make sure you cut at least as long as this is, so to make sure you cover everywhere that you want to generate roots. So I'm going to cut the bag, and can you guys see? I'm going to make sure to push this whole thing inside. Oops, uh-oh. Try and get it around. I think I have to cut it a little bit more. Cut it a little bit more. All right, let's try again. So this is where the cut is. Cut is right here. We're gonna make sure we cover the whole area that we want to root. And what will happen, if all goes well, that the roots will form inside the bag. It's great if you have a second set of hands. I don't. So I am using some tape to kind of help me put this together. And one thing I didn't mention, one of the reasons I like to use plastic bags is that like a month from now I'll come and check on it, but I'll be able to see when the roots start to form. I'm not going to put too much tape on. All right. All right. That's it. So I'm gonna probably get some rope and try and secure it. I just can't find my rope right now, but guys, you see it's completely covered. It's airtight. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a piece of foil. I'm gonna cover it with a piece of foil. What the foil will do is keep the light off the roots, because you wanna mimic it being underground. So that's why we have the soil. So you want to keep it dark. Whoops. You want to keep it dark to mimic being under the ground. So a month from now, I'm gonna come and peep in and see if I see any roots forming. I think it's gonna probably take a couple months. If there's any excess water, it'll be able to drain. I'm gonna come and wrap it a little bit more. Whew, but that's it, guys. That's it. It's an earlier. This is a very simple way. They do have some like black ball things that you can buy to put around your ear layer. Then you can just open the ball and cut it. You know, if you don't want to spend money, you can even use a margarine tin. I've seen people use a margarine tin, cut it, put the branch in, fill it up with soil, You can use potting soil, but I find that sometimes I get a lot of gnats. Even with this, you know, sometimes ants get in there and all that. But you know, God willing, it will work, and I will have a lovely red coat plum tree. But what you'll see happen is too, you're gonna see some branches coming from the bottom here, because this is gonna now be the new top. So you're gonna see new branches forming here. So when I cut it, that's where the top is gonna be. However, for this one, as I mentioned before, I'm gonna just cut all the way down to the ground, and then this will also be, you know, probably cut into 2 or 3 cuttings. So guys, that's it for today's video. This is my air layer, and you know, you guys keep watching. Be sure to hit the like, the subscribe, and hit that notification bell and click all, so in another month or two when I do an update, you'll be able to see this. I also did an air layer on my star fruit today, so I'll show you the updates on both air layers. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, bye now.